Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back into the video today, and today we're going to be talking about the Houston Rockets matchup against the New Orleans Pelicans. The Houston Rockets are 17-9 to start off the year, and they will be playing their 27th regular season game of the season. They're going to be playing against one of the worst teams in basketball this year, but also one of the worst injury teams in basketball this year. Really, just this year's Memphis Grizzlies of last season, the New Orleans Pelicans, who were 5-22. The Rockets are a little bit injured themselves going into this game. Steven Adams dealing with an ankle injury. He's a game-time decision. I'll say that it is positive that Steven Adams, it's not, we're not hearing a shoulder, which has usually been a reason for him to be on the injury report. So it's not, it's not a shoulder injury for him to be on the injury report. Instead, it's an ankle. It's also another potential injury that is threatening, but it's not the one that's been, the injury that kept him out almost 2 seasons. Also, game time decision is the Rockets' other center, Alperen Sengun, who came off one of his worst games of the regular season in the Rockets' 26 games against the Thunder in the NBA Cup in Vegas last weekend on Saturday. If he does play in this game, I hope he bounces back. One of the Rockets' best players in the game against the Thunder was Tari Eason. Now, he's a game-time decision because of rest tonight. So we'll see if he plays. Now, it should be an interesting one to see what happens with the Rockets in this game, with them being a little bit banged up. Now, when you look on the Pelicans end, this is, like I mentioned, this has been an injury-riddled team this season. For most times, their starting center has been Daniel Tice, former Houston Rocket. He's out in this game dealing with personal issues. Jose Alvarado, who's been a big part of their bench, backup point guard, great defensively, good three-point shooter. He's out with a hamstring injury. He's been out for a while. Zion's dealing with a hamstring injury. He's out. Brandon Ingram's dealing with an ankle injury. At times, they've been without C.J. McCollum and DeJounte Murray. Those guys are healthy. They'll be on the floor tonight. So, outside of DeJounte Murray and C.J. McCollum, their stars are not playing. I mean, they have some other good pieces that are going to help them potentially win a basketball game outside of McCollum. And McCollum and Murray, those are their main scorers. Outside of that, they have some other good pieces. Like, you have Herb Jones, you have Trey Murphy, you have Jordan Hawkins. Those are some nice pieces. But with the way the Rockets play defensively, how good of depth, the good depth they have, even if they're without, the three guys, tonight, I still think the Rockets get an easy win. Rockets are well-rested. They are at home in this one. I like the Rockets. Look, even if Sengun and Tari Eason do not play, even Steven Adams, I still like the Rockets in this one. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Rockets fan. But I do think it's interesting to get to the point of what the starting lineup could look like if neither Steven Adams or Alperen Sengun play in this game. We've seen a lot of games where Steven Adams does not play. Because for a while it's been the case where Steven Adams, one game he doesn't play, the next he does. Now we're actually seeing back-to-back games where he plays. He's actually playing consecutive games now. It wasn't like that all the time. But we've seen Alperen Sengun play every single game. We have not seen Steven Adams in the starting lineup. So we don't know what it looks like without Alperen Sengun so far this season. At times it wasn't. Sometimes last year you saw Ime go ahead and say, we're going to start Jock Landale. Sometimes he didn't. Sometimes he went with small ball. Sometimes he did start Jock. But we don't look. I think if Sengun does not play in this game, if he's ruled out for his knee injury, and the Rockets end up going and saying, okay, Steven Adams is going to play in this game against his former team. I think that Steven Adams will 100% start in the starting lineup. I think he's done a great job when given minutes. Been great rebounding, good defensively. I thought he was great in low minutes against the Thunder. Was great against the Warriors. He didn't play against the Warriors. It was the game before that he was great, which was, I think, against the Warriors. It was against the Warriors in Golden State, not non-cup game. So I think Adams has been great when he's been given a chance. So if he gets starting minutes, I think he'll be great for this team. But if neither of them go, you ask yourself, Does Jock Lando start, or does Jabari play the 5 and you go small ball? Maybe a men comes into the starting lineup and the starters are, Fred, Jalen, Dylan Brooks, Amen Thompson, and Jabari Smith Jr., or is it, Şengün's out, Jock Lando comes in? I think it's either that. Like, if we don't have Steven Adams or Alperen Şengün, or Tari Eason. Tari Eason could be an option to come into the starting lineup. But if there's no Şengün, I think it's either Amen Thompson coming into the starting lineup or it's Jock Lando. And that's saying there's no Steven or no LP. But look, I still think the Rockets get a win tonight, but they got to do something they haven't been great at most of the time this season. And not only that, but recently, last 2 games, terrible from 3. Got to be better. Look, they don't have the best 3-point shooting team, but they have guys who can knock down shots. Jalen, when he's in the zone, he's knocking down a lot of threes. Same thing for Dylan Brooks, Fred VanVleet. Go to Tari Eason, he's a pretty decent 3-point shooter. There are guys on this team that can knock down 3-pointers. And I'm going to predict that Jalen Green has a good night tonight against these Pelicans. I'm really thinking so. Jalen has had some success against the Pelicans in his career. And not only that, when we see Jalen have a couple bad games, he kind of, gets in there and has a good game. I'm not saying there's going to be like a 30-point night for Jalen Green, but I'm going to say over 20 for Jalen tonight. I've been a big hater on Jalen this year, but I do know when he has a bad game like he's had in the last couple games against the Thunder and the Warriors, we see him play absolutely terrible in the big games where you need him to show up the most, like he has not done in the last couple games, only putting up, 12 points and 9 points, something like that, in the last 2 games and cup games against Golden State and OKC. When you absolutely need him, he doesn't show up. But in a meaningless game against a 5-22 New Orleans Pelicans, this is the type of game that Jalen just has this great game, and you're like, where was this guy the last game? So I just have that feeling from Jalen tonight. So, and not only that, but I think the guys that have struggled in the last couple games will get it done. And look, if they are shorthanded, if there's no Tari, I have a feeling there's not going to be a Tari Eason in this game tonight. I don't know about Steven Adams or Şengün, but if there is, neither of those 3 guys, I think that makes this a harder matchup against a Pelicans team. And I think that makes this game a closer game. Look, I think if the Rockets are fully healthy, you have Tari, you have LP, you have Steven Adams, I think the Rockets have great potential to get a blowout in this game. But without those 3 guys, potentially, I think that, the Rockets definitely, could have some trouble tonight. But I still think they get a win anyways. Let me know your thoughts on the Rockets-New Orleans Pelicans game that will be played today, which is Thursday. And the game will start at 7 o'clock. The Rockets are well-rested, like I mentioned, well-rested recently. Like last week, they've only played 2 games. Going back to Wednesday, today's Thursday, the last 8 days, they've only played 2 games. I think it's the best they've ever been rested all season. Let me know your thoughts on the Rockets going into this matchup against the Pelicans back at home tonight against New Orleans. That's the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace out.